Tonight, I'm excited to begin by just doing a little bit of a tutorial about how to use a lexicon. Now, and it really is a combination of how to use a lexicon, a dictionary, and concordance, really, is what we're talking about. And somebody had said, I think, a comment on our Digging Deep page that I don't know how to use a lexicon. That's okay. I mean, and somebody else said, well, I don't even know what one is. That is okay, because all of us, when we start studying God's Word, have to learn about tools. And so tonight I'm going to talk about, first of all, just how to use the book. The Strong's Concordance, that is a book. We're going to talk about that first of all. Is our slideshow going to work? All right, let's start then with slide number 1. The first thing that you do is you just choose a concordance that you'd like to use. And I have a picture here of a Strong's Expanded Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. I love the words expanded and exhaustive, because you need one that says complete with a Greek and a Hebrew dictionary, because of course you're going to be looking at Hebrew words in the Old Testament and at Greek words in the New Testament. So there's nothing wrong with using a book. If some people prefer the book over the online versions of these things. In fact, I love to have my book right there in front of me so that I can flip through it. So you need to choose Vine's, Cruden's, or Strong's, and you need to remember that whatever, if you're using the book, you need to get a Strong's that's based on whatever version of the Bible you're using. So you need to get one that's KJV if you're using KJV, or New King James if you're using that. So you pick out which one you want to use, and I'm just going to recommend Strong's because it is just so common in the computer program. So if you want to buy a book, I would say, I looked on Amazon today, these are pretty cheap. So a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance would be a great one to invest in if you're going to get a paper copy. Next slide is then you're going to be just looking in your text here. There are some mustard seeds there. That's what those are, because Jesus is talking about mustard seed here. And next slide, we decided we were going to key in on the word faith there that's on the left side of the slide there. So we're going to be looking for that word faith, and we want to know exactly what that word was in the Greek. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look up in the Strong's Concordance the word faith. And so next slide is a list there of a partial list of the words faith there. And as you can see, it's used a lot of times. And if you look on the right hand, well, it's kind of on the middle right of your screen, you'll see that one of those times is Matthew chapter 17, I believe it's verse 20, where it's talking about faith as a grain of mustard seed. Now you see right beside, to the right of those passages where the word faith is used, are some numbers, and it's usually 4 numbers. In this case, I believe it was 4102. Those numbers that are to the right of the passage citations are numbers that identify Greek words. So if you look to the right of Matthew 17, verse 20 there, I believe that's the passage. If you look to the right of that, you see a number. And that number will tell you where to turn in the dictionary part of your book. There will be another part of your concordance that you turn to. And let's look at the next slide. There, when you turn to the dictionary part of the book, you find that number. And as you can see, to the left of each column, those numbers are they start with 1 and they go up to 4102, which is where faith is. So you're just going to be turning through those numbers until you get to the number that you found in your concordance. So here we would be looking for 4102. Let's go to the next slide and see how if you have an interlinear Bible, and you can, find those very cheaply these days because everyone's using computer programs. But if you have an interlinear Bible, you can skip a step. Look at this page in the Bible. What do you see that's different about that page?
It's got the reference to where the letter is, and you can click on those blue highlighted parts, they're links, and they'll take you to where
well, that's if you're using a computer. But if you're just using the book, What you do is you just look at that number that's below the word that you need. And if you look at that number, then you go in your dictionary part of your concordance and you just scroll down until you get to the number of the word. So if you have an interlinear Bible, you can kind of skip a step if you're using a book. So I'm saying this for women who prefer to use paper. But next slide, you can do all of these paperless, and I'm gonna show you how you do that with your computer. This example that I'm gonna give you is from Olive Tree, and that is just a program that you download pretty inexpensively online. And the version that I've chosen is KJV with Strong's, but you can choose any version that you want to choose on Olive Tree pretty much. On my Olive Tree, I have I think I have NASB, I have KJV, I have New King James, and I have ESV all on my Olive Tree. That is on my phone and it is on my computer, my laptop. So I can just pretty quickly find any version that I want and link it up to Strong's. And I'm just going to show you how I do that. First of all, you just pull up your program onto your screen. Mine is Olive Tree, and find the word that you're looking for. So let's go to the next slide. And you can see there that I've pulled up Matthew 17. And in verse 20, you can see that I've highlighted the word faith there. And instead of highlighting, though, you'll want to do just what I did on the next screen and click on that word. You click on faith. And when you click on it, just up pops this screen that defines that word from the Greek or from the Hebrew. And that's just really easy to do if you have a Bible program downloaded onto your computer. I love Olive Tree, but I'm going to show you some more in just a minute. But if you see there, you see some Greek letters at the top of that little box. And then you will see the word in English, and then you will see the definition. And it will even, lots of times it will tell you the origins from that word. Might be a combination of a couple of words in its etymology. So it'll tell you what words it came from and the original meaning of those words. Yeah. So that's just a really, really great thing to be able to click on a text on your screen and then just get the definition just to pop up on your Bible program. Let's go to the next slide. And when we look at that, here are some that I recommend. Logos is a great one. eSword is a great one, and you were telling me that for your Android,
it's called Pocket Sword, and I think it's eSword is for Apple phones.
Well, Mac Sword I think is for Apple. eSword is for a different computer that's not Mac, for other computers that aren't Mac. And maybe you might be right, but all you have to do is just do a search on eSword.
I thought the Linear Bible was an app, so
yeah, okay.
I'm just like, I'll let you.
So eSword, or I thought you said My Sword.
Oh, My Sword. That's what it is.
My Sword. Okay,
yes.
So for Android, it's My Sword. It used to be Mac Sword for MacBook, but I think it's changed to Mac OS. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But if you punch in eSword and then click in, if you're doing a search, click in your device, it'll quickly show you what program to download for that. And then Olive Tree is the one that I just showed you. Blue Letter Bible is another one that's free. That is excellent. And then let's go to BibleHub.com, I think is on the next slide. BibleHub.com, just a website that's just so easy to go to. You just type up in your search bar BibleHub.com and this pops up. Okay, so there's the website. And look up at the top, you can just type in the passage. It gives you a place to type in the passage that you're looking at. And then below that, look at that little blue bar that goes all the way across. You can choose any of those versions. That looks like about 12 versions of the Bible or 15 versions of the Bible there. And you pick whatever version you want to see that verse in. And then look, Matthew 17 verse 20 just pops up there. And let's show them the next slide how that, look at it. It just gives you every word in the verse, every Greek word in the verse, and what that word means. and it'll give you the number of the word if you want to go look at other places where it's used in the scriptures. You can even look at the other places it's used straight from this website. So don't forget the website BibleHub.com. I use that frequently, even though I have Olive Tree on my phone. And then there is no shame in this. Google. Google the Greek word for faith in Matthew 17, verse 20. You can just type that. I'd like to know the Greek word for faith in Matthew 17, verse 20, and push click, and you get this. Yeah, and that's just a little bit of it. Scroll on down, and it'll tell you 50 places where you can find the Greek meaning for that word. And there is nothing wrong with just typing up in your search bar, find me the Greek word for this in this passage. So, you know, I know that when you listen to me say this, you think, wow, she's pretty dumb that she thinks that all this is so great. I've been doing this for years. But there might be somebody who hasn't been doing this for years. There might be somebody who's like, I really want to know what the Greek words mean, and I never knew it before.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of ways, beginning with a paper book and ending up with Googling the word that you want, that you can know very easily the meaning of the Greek word that you're trying to find.